Hey guys, on this episode of EdTech, we're going to be talking with James King, Rob Raspberry, and Ernie Bailey as we talk about how to merge old technology with new and how the classrooms are adapting with COVID. All this and more on EdTech.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is EdTech, episode 90, Old Meets New.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by Kramer, AV Beyond the Box.
This is EdTech, a monthly higher ed tech podcast. I'm your host, Bill O'Donnell. As always, I'm joined by Ernie Bailey. How are you, sir?
I'm doing just fine.
And as I say, I'm also joined by Rob Raspberry. How are you today, sir?
Doing great. Always great to be here with you guys.
Yeah. And we also have James King with us. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thank you for having me back.
Of course. So, as always, we are now into our first month and a half or so, depending on where you are, of COVID and classrooms and everything. In our case, we have slowly been easing students back in. Right now, as I put it, it's me and the freshmen, and I believe this past week we just started letting the sophomore or 200 level students on campus and everything. In between that, it's been a mix of, Zoom cuts off after 40 minutes. And we go, did you guys use your university login or did you use your own? Oh, we have one for the university? Yes. It's the enterprise one. Please use that. It has all the bells and whistles and perks and all the good stuff. But anyway. So first off, I want to kind of start off. Some of us have already been given some fun installation marching orders and everything. In our case, on campus, we've been given an entire month to do a three-way divisible ballroom. So, if in the month of December, if you see me, working what looks like a convention show floor rug or something like that, that's just my straight up desperation and exhaustion. But anyway, that being said, we're still going through with our projects and everything. Rod's already nodding, so I know something's up with this. But for a lot of us, well, you know what? How about this? I'm first going to go through, it's one of our articles, and it kind of ties into this. It comes to us from System Contractor News, or SCN, and that is Old Meets New. Now, what the article covers and everything is MKJ Communications went and actually put Dante in across the terminals over at LaGuardia. Their previous stuff was they were using CobraNet, which if you still use CobraNet, more than likely you also have an entirely separate dedicated switch system to this whole thing, only because CobraNet had a tendency to, almost run your switch red hot and burn out the ports and all that kind of stuff. So in this case, if you read their article and everything, it's kind of marrying up the old existing CobraNet system and everything, and they're also plugging in Dante, along with also trying to factor in, once again, assisted listening, as well as mass notification. Now, how that relates back to us and our stuff and everything, well, if I'm told that I have to run a paging system across the entire campus, I'm first going to cry, and then I'll actually go and work it through. But a lot of times we've had to marry up systems that, in certain cases, the equipment is still using. In certain cases, I've seen the 8-pin, I've seen the 8 or 9-pin SGA cable. And in other cases, they still go, well, it's still using composite video. So how do we get this from point A to point B? So, guys, I will open up the floor to you guys in the fact that, have you guys had recently any times where you've had to marry up some of the older tech with, our wonderful digital standards and everything? And Ernie, Ernie, I have to say, that's either you're probably dealing with some super advanced stuff in which, grayscale gradient is ultra important, or, it turns into, well, technically it's a green screen.
We're not doing anything quite that advanced right now, but no, we do our best not to try to merge. If someone's wanting the newer technology, we insist that we do a complete overhaul of the system. It's just.
So do you guys try to actually? Yeah. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's a lot cleaner. It's simpler, and if you're using technology that old, when something fails, everybody's gonna be pointing fingers at each other. So we might go with we remove all the old stuff and we phase in as you can afford it, newer technology. We'll put in what you need basically with plans for what you see in the future. So we can upgrade without rebuilding again. And that's usually fairly successful.
Yeah, the only time we've, at least on our campus, that we've had to deal with that kind of stuff has mostly been some of the faculty who they are very specific. They have here, my stuff is saved on this exact laptop. I don't want to do a digital transfer and everything. So it kind of turns into okay, how do we do the, I make the joke of, I'm like, we're dealing with digital rot on this, but how do we go and move this up to where it can actually survive in the current system? Only once, and this was, I want to say last year, it was a bit of we looked at it and we're like, oh, we should accommodate for this. Were two things. One, we had a faculty member who still had a black and white laptop, to which I honestly looked and I'm like, how is this even still functional? And they had XP on it. I'm amazed. Wow. Yeah. And then the other one, and this was more of a learning curve. We've kind of adjusted ourselves to it since then. It was actually some folks who came from the K through 12 realm and had Chromebooks. Now, once again, that's really more of a learning curve. It's not a bad thing. I'm not opposed to it. It's just one of those, okay, this is a little bit more, I'm not going to say streamlined, but it's definitely, it's a different approach to things. And the worst of it, I think it turned into, the Solstice pods aren't working with this, to which I believe these days Immersive's already released a software update that accommodates that. James, I know you. I'm just laughing. You're just looking, nodding, and I'm like, all right. What? As I say, what pit of despair did you manage to pull a diamond out of?
Probably our biggest one right now that we're pretty good. We're almost like Ernie. We try to upgrade as quickly as we can to accommodate the newer technology. But with this whole COVID thing and social distancing, a lot of classes got moved into larger spaces. And one of the spaces is a lecture hall we have that we've been trying to upgrade. It just keeps changing the date when we're going to get in there to upgrade. So it's all analog right now. Well, the professor wanted an Apple TV to stream from his MacBook or iPad. So I got it working. It may not be the prettiest, but it's doing the job for now until we can upgrade the space. But we, like Ernie, we do our best to get the rooms upgraded. Probably the biggest conversion we have was VCRs, really. I mean, we went for a while to sell VCRs in the classrooms, and the faculty members did not want to let those go. But I think we have 2 rooms still with VCR, but I don't think they're used.
Yeah, for us, we have worked with the library. We even set them up like a little dubbing station to where, this faculty member still has some stuff on VHS. You know what? Here, we'll set it up. We'll at least put it on a DVD. And I'm trying to at least work it in to where we get like one of the Crestron SNMP or no, that's a protocol. It's one of
there, Bill.
Yeah, I know. I'm crossing the streams.
Yeah.
No, but we're trying to set it up to where we can go and transfer the stuff over. Here's the DVD, and then here's also a thumb drive with the digital file. Here you go. Upload it to your Blackboard shell, or at least to a network drive of some sort. We're at least trying to say, here, at least put it in the private cloud. That's what we're trying to get to.
We actually work with our library too. A couple years ago, I forget exactly how many years ago, they started a program. They called it like liaisons, and what they do is they're members of the library staff who work with the faculty. So if a faculty member comes with, say, video from the 1800s on VHS, the liaison is going to look at it and be like, okay, this is a subject matter you're talking about. Let's see, in 1950, they came out with an updated version. Why don't we incorporate this? So it takes a lot of that off of our staff and helps the faculty member keep up to date with everything changing, because just like technology, education changes too, unless you're dealing with math or something like that doesn't change. But yeah, so I mean, it's been pretty good. Knock on wood, they do a really good job of working with the faculty members, making sure that they can get their content into the classrooms.
Yeah, and that's the core of it that we try to approach it with folks about. I mean, I will admit up front, no technology is perfect. And in fact, today we actually dealt with a fun little ticket in which the faculty member kept going, they're doing a hybrid online course and everything. And he's in the classroom. The rest of the students are, strictly online. And he keeps going, yeah, the whole room's out of focus. This is out of focus. And we originally go by and we look at everything. And we're like, the camera's fine. I don't get what you're talking about. Until we actually looked up, and it's a dual screen projection room and everything. Yeah, someone went and messed with the EDID for the PC. Yeah, and which is really weird, only because for us it's a DM system. So we're going, we managed the EDID. This is impressive. It's almost the bit from Anchorman. It's like I'm not even mad. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I don't know how this happened.
We get those too.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I'll admit up front, and as tech managers and as former installers and things like that, we've all dealt with the technology to where it's like, oh, well, it's this, and this. Okay, well, Professor so-and-so who has a doctorate in, analytic data, how often has he actually, used the actual system? Probably, a dozen times or so, and he just looks and he goes, oh, it's not working. So, you have to, there is like a little bit of we'll do a little bit of a dialogue, but, I'm not going to, not everyone's going to be, the same level car mechanic that you are. So that's where I go about this. Rob, what were you guys?
Yeah, so we've got sort of two smaller but different kind of examples. So, the AV bridge is my best friend. We can take older, cameras that were in the 18s, and, as long as we have the right connections going in AV bridge, we can convert it, put it to USB. That is basically sort of been literally the bridging the technologies. And then I think in our last one, we mentioned in one of the rooms, we put the analytics box in because the professors refused to get away from their chalkboard. And we're trying to figure out, well, how can we work around it without, physically kicking them, screaming, and having them get into a battle royal with security. But anyway, so with the edge box, it's sort of given us a gap to digitally extract what they're writing on the chalkboard. We'll see if it catches on, but, we just think of some solution to sort of work around what they're doing. And eventually we know, like with the pandemic, people who hated Zoom, who hated video collaboration were forced to get on the platform and eventually adopted it. So, so those are the two examples we have. And we're just getting Dante in a couple of places on our campus. So very excited about that. Small things excite me, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, same here. I don't have any Dante in production, but I've been following Dante. I've actually had my level 2 cert in Dante. I actually thought about going my level 3 cert, but I'm like, I have no Dante productions. So it's kind of like, why get it right now? But I'm liking what Dante can do. I just haven't deployed it yet.
Yeah, I like it in the regards of, so case in point, we're doing the ballroom and everything. And currently, I think there are about 42 XLR inputs in that ballroom. Yeah, I know. Rob's looking at me like, why would you need that many? And just for the record, I did not design this ballroom. I am simply updating this. So my way of streamlining this down is, and once again, there's always like, this is the fun bit that like Ernie and I kind of love this about trade shows that, obviously we all miss, and even like the little regional trade shows and everything, is that you could go around to some of like the audio, you could go to like, at Infocom, you could go to the audio pavilion and you'd see like the little guys or some of the smaller companies and you'd be like, I didn't know you could actually do that. And in this case, everyone's like, oh, yeah, we've got Dante this and Dante that and this and that. And they're not, by no means are they a small company, but I think that they don't get the credit that they always deserve, is RDL, or Radio Design Labs. And reason being is that in this case, if you look at like, when I was doing installs and everything, the RDL stick-ons were always like you have to go and do this, and it's in this small space. Here you go. It was a quick little captive screw. Here you go. Bam. Ta-da. But RDL jumped into Dante like crazy. Like they have 2-gang and 3-gang wall plates that have like 4 in, 4 out, or like 6 by 6 or things like that. And I look and I go, for what I'm needing to do, this is amazing. And they're able to do it over a single network drop.
Yeah.
So
I remember going to see RDL about 2 or 3 years ago at the Infocom booth and said, I'm surprised y'all are still here. I said, for years and years, you were the go-to little box, little black box. And they gave me a tour of their new digital stuff, and they have stayed on top of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And for the size company they're amazing.
Yeah, they jumped into that stuff. They jumped into the digital end of it, like with all 4 feet. So I truly appreciate that. Now, whether or not those end up getting used for whatever shenanigans happen in the ballroom, that's totally separate. But the other ones, like, all right, the other things that I can always say, like, I look and I go, oh, that's pretty interesting, is James, I don't know how often you've had to deal with floor boxes. In our case, we have floor boxes that have been so neglected that I'm pretty sure we actually have to replace the actual floor box plates, as well as the actual junction plates.
Wow.
Yeah. But the good news is though is that originally we worked with FSR about everything. And they actually suggested to us, we were trying to do a DM solution, and they're like, yeah, unless you actually completely open up the box, like there's no way you're going to actually get the DM product in. They said, however, they're like, go look at like Hall Research. And for them, they actually have like this like shallow depth HD-based T transmitter. And, we looked at it and, we actually went and went through, sent the specs to FSR just to double check, and they're like, yeah, no, this will work. And of course, there was the phone call to Crestron going, is this compatible? They go, is it HD based T? They're like, yeah, here's the specs. Yeah, no, that'll work. So it's once again, it's merging old with new. In this case, it's a floor box that I'm pretty sure was installed when I was a freshman. So, yeah, you can take from that what you will. So yeah, speaking of Crestron, before the show, actually Ernie brought up to us a fun little bit that Crestron actually has updated in their warranties. So Ernie, if you mind telling the fine folks about that one, that's actually this in terms of warranties. I have never really had an issue with Crestron, but this actually I think is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and we don't really do sponsorships or commercials here at our unit.
Yeah, we're not getting a kickback.
Yeah, there's no kickback on here. This is just a very impressive deal. This is what our engineer pulled this morning from their site. This is effective October 1st. If your product stops working and is in a warranty period, we will ship you a replacement within 3 days, anywhere in the world. One phone call, no forms, no long waits, no repairing.
Like I said, I just find that impressive in the fact that as a tech manager and also as someone who used to be a repair tech, the idea of trying to get an advanced replacement, most times that was a bit of pulling teeth and everything. Depending on the manufacturer, you had to kind of go through, well, we got this through a distributor or we got this through another manufacturer, this and that, here you go. There are certain manufacturers that literally you just tell them, hey, this one broke. Oh, what's the serial number? Okay, there you go. Done. In case in point is, once again, we're not sponsored by any of these folks. If we are, I do apologize ahead of time. Yay. But anyways, yeah, I know. But there are companies that just, they want to work with you. They want to have like a good niche in it. Case in point, and I'll just take a quick round the room on this one. How many of us have Epson projectors on campus? There you go. So, and as I say, if you didn't see it, folks, all four of us raised our hands. Reason being is Epson, at least in their case, is in the same category. They want it. As I say, if anything, they offer really great rebates on things, and that's really, I think that's how it boils down. Is the manufacturers actually like to develop like an actual good relationship with their end users.
And that's where I like, once again, not
no payola here, folks.
No plugging anyone, but we have the first 25K laser projector that Epson released in the United States here on our campus. When we had some issues getting it installed, getting some of the firmware working properly, we were able to work directly with their technical engineering team. We didn't have to go through the dealer that got it and their distributor and their rep and all that. We were given the direct phone number to their support office, and they worked with us through some issues we were having. We got it worked out in a couple of hours, and those are the people you go back to.
Yeah. In our case, there have been certain things that have soured. The manufacturer's name will be withheld for this one. However, we were very happy with a particular projector model line, and then all of a sudden there was a special tag that got laid onto it, and we're like, all right, well, we'll get a couple of more. And then we asked the support folks and everything. We're like, so is there a comparable model or anything? They went, oh no, just we're going to go with a new line entirely, and you buy this one now. And we're like, okay, but that bumps it up to a different class. And, the other end of it was the fact that the new model also meant that there was new firmware, and there also meant that there was new serial commands. And that's one of the things, once again, certain manufacturers, they go, yeah, no, the command codes that we have, the command lines that we have for this model are the same as command lines for models X, Y, and Z. And I think that goes a long way as far as, if you're a programmer or if you do your installs in-house yourself. James, I can already see you're just looking, going like, yes, yeah. It makes life a lot easier.
Yeah, like we're a big Epson house here, and I'm actually the in-house programmer. So we have a module that talks to our projectors via IP for serial commands, turn on and off. And what's nice is Doesn't matter what model I throw up. I IP it the same, commands work. I don't have to change anything in my code. It just works. And it saves me time, saves, of course, if we have a class that really needs a projector and the projector blows up, we can get them up and running without a long lead time.
Yeah. And that's the thing that we tend to, that, I appreciate, at least from Epson's perspective, is, oh, the Pro model? Oh yeah, no, it's the same as this one. Our programmer is still very much in the realm of, he likes to use serial and everything, serial for the controls and everything. However, as things are starting to progress, we're probably going to go more towards just doing everything IP and everything. Only because just, you know what, if the network goes down, we have bigger issues on campus.
Yeah. That's what I say too.
Yeah. And to which I just go, yeah, sorry. Yeah, we're having network issues. Well, you have to fix this. Well, that's why we have a local switch in the room, which doesn't always go over that well with our net. Well, it's not our network folks that are bothered by that. It's our CIO folks, because they try to, our CIO and some of the other higher ups, in that from a management perspective, it's going from, oh, it should go from the network closet straight to these endpoints. Well, yeah. But at the same time, I always like to tell everyone, yeah, there's those what if moments. And yeah, so like I said, we try to put a local switch in the room. Yeah,
we go back to our closets for our projectors. So our what if is we're still doing HTTP from the podium to the projector. So even if we drop network, I just go into a remote, pop the projector on, we're good to go.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, it's all about how you deal with the manufacturer.
Yeah.
Rob, I actually meant to ask you, in terms of installs, what does it say? Just going back to the earlier topic, what exactly do you guys have on your plate? And also, have you guys actually had like the same vendor relations that, say James and I and even Ernie have had, as far as, there's, it's the, hey, this thing done, as I say, there's a problem with this line. Oh, we got it. No problem.
So like currently what we've got on our plate is we're putting in a number of the Poly X50s in a cart configuration, and some of them also with a large 86-inch display with a stand that actually attaches, the chief stand that attaches to the wall. And so we're dealing with the installations of that right now. So that's what I'm sort of in the middle of, because our term starts on Monday. So we have a number of spaces that are basically dedicated for the high flex learning, where we have some of the nursing and a law school, and I'm trying to think, medical school. There's still a number of classes that are even happening now, but in Monday they'll have some high flex where there's some remote, some of the students are in the class, social distancing, all that stuff. So we're in the middle of that, and it's been going pretty well with the vendor. One of our favorite vendors actually is, and I guess I should I say them or not? But anyway, this vendor would typically, when we did an install or something and something needed to be adjusted, they would come right back out, and you drop, before the pin would hit the floor, they would be there. Hey, we'll do that. So we do have relations with some of our integrators that is great. They'll bend over backwards to get stuff done. They'll investigate when, you have supply chain issues. They'll do their best to try to get you a camera or get something to come in and something like that. So we have run into situations like that. And we also have some vendors that obviously, we just stay away from, because they leave a bitter taste in your mouth. But really,
No, go ahead.
So basically, the Poly X50 installs are our biggest thing, and with their software upgrades and the second camera capability, it's sort of made it a little more attractive, because a lot of our classrooms are not high technical, and having the flexibility of sort of this all-in-one solution, at least during this, the pandemic and the COVID, is really a good fit for us.
Yeah, so that's actually the thing I was going to ask. And once again, correct me if I'm wrong. the Polycom X50, is that the one that has the camera like built into the sound bar and everything?
Yep, it's sort of the sound bar. Very, very similar. I mean, Logitech. A lot of the companies have them. So that is the one you could literally. So our thinking on this is during the time that we have the carts, we can the sound bars on the cart, and that's fine. But later on down the road, we can take those off, put them in a smaller classroom, and it can be a permanent fixture in the front and allow us to do, distance learning.
Yeah, and that's the thing I actually really appreciate. If folks aren't familiar with it and everything, one of the things that Polycom actually did with this unit is that they kind of went more software agnostic with that unit and everything, because you can do Skype, you can do Zoom. I believe you can either do, as I say, if you really want to go down the path, you can do GoToMeeting and a couple other ones that, Blue Jeans, a couple other ones. So I like that in the fact that, in the past we used to have it where it was, once again, this is dating me on this one. Yes, we used to have picture tells, and or Concordias. Yeah, I know. If you ever saw those things, if those things fell on you, you'd have a sizable concussion. But the fact is, it's in the same time frame as when you had the CRT projectors that were filled that had 3 barrels. But that being said, I appreciate it from Polycom's perspective in the fact that they go, listen, how you collaborate doesn't matter to us. It's how you get it's more along the lines of use our stuff in order to collaborate. And if anything, Rob, I think that for you guys to be able to do that, that's actually offering a lot of flexibility in the future. Now, whether or not folks get away from Zoom, I think everyone's now gotten to the Kleenex level with that and everything. But that's just my own bit. In any event, guys, we have hit our time limit for this month and everything. As I say, if anything, guys, we're just going to do a quick round the room. Where can the fine folks find you at, Mr. James?
They can find me on Twitter. I think my handle is AV_James King.
Yep. Also, don't forget, as I say, if you are in the higher ed tech community, James also has the Slack AV group and everything. I'd say hit James up via Twitter, and you can probably work it out from there. I personally have started delving back into the group and everything, and I've found some fun little nuggets in there. So yeah, Rob, where can folks find you at?
Of course, on LinkedIn.
Oh, there you go. And Ernie?
I'm also on LinkedIn.
Oh, there you go. I'm Bill O'Donnell. You can find me on LinkedIn as well as on Twitter. Usually you'll find me usually being the grumpy old man on AV in the AM discussions. Or, James or Josiah Way will probably be the more uplifting or more realistic folks on that discussion. In any event, this has been EdTech, part of the monthly Higher Ed Tech podcast. As always, EdTech is part of AVNation, the AVNation family of podcasts. Once again, this is EdTech.